There's a specific kind of silence that happens when someone says something so unbelievably wrong that nobody knows how to respond. I've experienced that silence more times than I'd like to admit. One of the first times was at work during a casual lunch conversation. Someone mentioned needing vitamin D, and another person confidently said, "You don't need sunlight for that. Vitamin D comes from food commercials." No one laughed. They explained that since commercials show healthy food, your body somehow absorbs the nutrients through the TV. I stared at my sandwich, trying to decide if I was the crazy one. A few days later, a different conversation broke my spirit a little more. Someone asked why airplanes don't just stop in midair if there's turbulence. Another person answered, because they'd fall out of the sky. That made sense until they added, they should install brakes on planes. Cars have them. At that point, I realized human confidence has no safety limits. But nothing prepared me for what happened at a family gathering. We were talking about seasons, and someone asked why it's winter in some countries when it's summer in others. Before anyone could answer, a relative said, "That's because the Earth moves closer to the sun for summer and farther away for winter." I gently mentioned that the Earth is actually tilted. They nodded and said, "Exactly, tilted away from the sun." I did not correct them. I valued peace. Then came the grocery store incident. A woman was furious because the organic water she bought didn't taste any different. She demanded a refund because, according to her, if it's organic, it should taste healthier. The cashier looked exhausted. I felt sympathy for retail workers everywhere. But the moment that truly broke me happened on public transport. A guy was explaining how Wi-Fi works. He said Wi-Fi comes from satellites, but only at night because that's when the signal is stronger. Someone asked why. He said because the sun blocks it during the day. I stared out the window, wondering how humanity made it this far. Later that same day, I overheard someone arguing about tattoos. They genuinely believed tattoos fade completely after a few years, like pen ink. When told they're permanent, they replied, "Then why do people say temporary pain?" I didn't have the strength to continue listening. That's when I finally understood something important. Some people aren't joking. They're not trolling. They're not trying to be funny. They are confidently walking through life with information that has never been fact-checked. And honestly, that's way scarier than any horror movie.
Yeah, sometimes ignorance isn't bliss, it's just loud. There's a special kind of fear you feel when you realize someone is being completely serious, and you wish they weren't. I felt that fear during a normal conversation about weather. Someone casually said, "I don't trust the sun." That sentence alone should have ended the conversation, but I asked why. They explained that the sun is dangerous because it turns on every morning without permission. I laughed. They stared at me. They continued, "If the sun didn't rise, the world would finally cool down." I stopped laughing. At that moment, I realized this wasn't humor, this was belief. A few days later, I was stuck in traffic with a friend who complained about GPS. They said, "I hate maps. They tell you where you should be, not where you are." I didn't know how to respond to that, so I stayed quiet. They added, "That's why I don't trust doctors either. Too many charts." At a family dinner, someone proudly announced they stopped drinking water before bed because, according to them, your body shuts down hydration at night. They claimed this prevents drowning in your sleep. I asked who told them that. They said, "Common sense." Then came the grocery store incident. A customer was arguing with an employee because the eggs were in a refrigerator. She said, "If eggs come from chickens and chickens don't live in fridges, why are the eggs cold?" The employee blinked slowly, like their soul was buffering. But my personal favorite moment happened at a cafe. Two people were debating tattoos. One said, "I'd never get a tattoo. What if I don't like it tomorrow?" The other replied, "That's why tattoos fade away naturally." I nearly choked on my drink. When someone corrected them, they confidently said, "Yeah, my cousin's tattoo disappeared." Turns out, it was henna. The final blow came on public transport. A guy started explaining how airplanes work. He said airplanes stay in the air because the sky is thicker up high. Someone asked what happens if the sky runs out. He said that's why planes land. I looked around. No one was questioning this. That's when it hit me. Some people don't lack information. They've just replaced it with confidence. And confidence, when mixed with nonsense, is unstoppable.
Yeah, every day I wake up amazed we made it this far as a species.